The flying sword and the bone-white sword that were originally aimed at the old man were now trembling with fear, where they dared to attack, immediately flying backward while frantically using their magical treasures. However, the sharp edge of the dragon-slaying sword filled the sky, almost instantly catching up to them. There was almost no time for a cry of alarm. The green light submerged the two men, and in a moment, the sound of shattering rose. But it was unknown what had happened to them. Lin Jingyu was covered in cold sweat, his mind almost lost. ZhuXian, who was standing furthest away, his face changed drastically, knowing that this old man was terrifyingly powerful, and he was not his opponent. He immediately turned and fled. Unexpectedly, the green light, like a mountain and a sea, with intermingled scarlet blood, surged forth, chasing after him. ZhuXian's cultivation was higher than the others. With a sudden shake of his hand, a black light flashed, and the overwhelming green light paused before him. But in the next moment, ZhuXian suddenly paled and exclaimed, "It's you. You are ... Before he could finish his sentence, the overwhelming green light between heaven and earth crushed the black light he barely supported and struck him in the chest. With a miserable cry, ZhuXian was sent flying far away, seemingly lifeless. In a moment, the 4 members of the demon cult who had just been arrogant and domineering were all dead. The sky full of green brilliance, like a giant whale sucking water, converged onto the dragon-slaying sword and flew back into the old man's hand. Lin Jingyu's mouth opened slightly, but he couldn't utter a word. The old man shook his head slightly, as if sighing to himself, then deeply glanced at the dragon-slaying sword in his hand and tossed it to Lin Jingyu. Lin Jingyu instinctively caught it, only to hear the old man walking back towards the ancestral hall, saying slowly, "The dragon-slaying sword, forged from the millennium green crystal of the bitterest land in the southern frontier, has slain countless villains. To wield this sword, one must be brave and bold, attacking foremost. Even if your cultivation is not enough, you must have the determination to slay all strong enemies. Otherwise, its divine power cannot be fully unleashed. Remember this well." Lin Jingyu was stunned, but as he watched the old man about to enter the ancestral hall, he suddenly realized and hurriedly said, "Senior, today the demon cult has launched a major attack on Qingyun. Please, you must intervene ... The old man's body suddenly paused, but he didn't turn around, just said faintly, "Qingyun Sect has many experts, and the sect master ZhuXian is an unparalleled genius in the world. With him there, what is there to fear?" Lin Jingyu took a step forward, lamenting, but the sect master ZhuXian has already been seriously injured. The old man was obviously surprised, turned around suddenly, and said, "Who could have injured ZhuXian?" Lin Jingyu suddenly fell silent. He naturally knew who the culprit was, but at this moment, to say the name of Master Kangzong, for some reason, brought a wave of sadness, as if saying it would sever something, making him unable to speak for a moment. The old man continued to ask, "What about ZhuXian? How is he now?" Lin Jingyu said, "The sect master ZhuXian is seriously injured, but for some reason, he entered the illusory moon cave." Illusory moon cave? The old man's face suddenly became calm, and after a moment of looking at Lin Jingyu, but it seemed more like he was talking to himself, he sighed, "Qingyun Sect, a giant sect for 1,000 years. What are you afraid of?" With that, the old man turned around again. Lin Jingyu was pale, shouting, "Senior, are you going to watch Qingyun fall into danger without lending a hand?" The old man smiled somewhat sadly and said, "Young man, the Qingyun Sect has been established for over 2,000 years. The true strength inside is not something you can know. Just rest assured." Lin Jingyu, puzzled, was about to plead again when suddenly he felt the sword in his hand, which had been quiet, suddenly heat up, as if it had been stimulated by something. The green light emitted once again. Lin Jingyu looked at the sword in his hand in astonishment. Sensing something, he turned his head to the direction of the illusory moon cave. There, between the peaks, a magnificent light shot up into the sky. His own dragon-slaying sword seemed to be responding, emitting a low hum. Finally emerged. At some point, the old man also looked towards that direction, his face filled with a complex expression of vicissitudes. He murmured softly, "Child, you're lucky. Soon, you'll be able to see the legendary ancient sword, ZhuXian."